milligram vials from Empower Pharmacy, $11,000 per month for my new dose, which is 4 vials per week, 16 vials per month. So these 5.8 milligram vials, he's using 4 vials per week, 16 vials per month. What is that in international units? Most of you guys are probably more familiar with HGH dosages in international units. In general, for somatropin, recombinant HGH, 1 milligram equals 3 international units. So for each 5.8 milligram vial of omnitrope, that has the equivalent of approximately 17.4 IU somatropin. So he mentioned 4 vials per week, 16 vials a month. I believe he mentioned in his email here, 16 vials a month. So that is going to be roughly 69.6 international units of recombinant human growth hormone per week, which is roughly 10 international units per day, which is like a fucking really, really high, super expensive dosage that, to be honest, I know bodybuilders who compete at the Open Mr. Olympia who use less pharma grade GH than that. Like that's how high of a dose that actually is. So he says, I don't know if this shit is grossly underdosed or what, but I've been taking 2 vials per week and my IGF is only at 139. See recent labs below. My doctor told me that I could double it in an effort to get to the upper 200s, low 300s. She thinks I could be a hyper non-responder. I'm wondering if taking a fuckload of other peptides could be confounding the results and possibly interfering with the efficacy. For instance, here's what I'm currently taking. So here's a stack. IGF-1, LR3, presumably. Been taking this for a year. CJC with IMAP. Been taking this for a year. So here, I'm assuming he's talking about CJC1295, drug affinity complex. Like there is a difference between, there's mod GRF 1-29, which is like a shorter acting. We'll get into it later as far as like what GHRPs are, GHRHs, etc. But this is like a peptide combination. CJC1295 with DAC. I'm assuming he's talking about with ipamorelin, I'm assuming, not IMAP. I'm sure he's just hastily writing this, hence why there's like missing shit. But CJC with IPAM is a very, very common combination. Been taking this for a year. Ibutamoren, also known as MK677, orally active GH secretagogue and ghrelin receptor agonist. Been taking this for 2 months. Omnitrope, human growth hormone pharmagrade. Been taking this for 6 weeks. Testosterone excipient, 0.6 cc per week, cruise dose. So that, presumably would be 120 milligrams per week if you do 0.6 times 1 with a 200 milligram per milliliter concentration. 120 milligrams per week of test sip is not that high. DECA, nandrolone decanoate, 0.6 cc per week. Been taking this for 3 weeks. So 3 weeks of 120 milligrams per week. Pharmagrade, of course. Winstrol, 50 milligrams a day. Just started this, been taking this for 3 weeks, and this is all presumably pharmagrade through the pharmacy mentioned and having a legitimate prescription. I know it to be the case that all of these are prescribable, even Winstrol, which sounds fucking baffling. And does it actually have like a clinical application that makes sense? Very rarely, but presumably he has a script for it. I'm doubting he's using UGL Winstrol just randomly as his choice of compound. There are fewer compounds to choose from, like you're not gonna get Trenbolone through a fucking pharmacy, but Winstrol, one of the available orals that presumably he arrived on as the one to add in. So anyways, he is on all this stuff. My blood sugar every morning, it's around 74, and insulin are great because I'm metabolically fit as fuck. Or so I think, ... Some doctors think my insulin is too low, but I think it's because I'm very insulin sensitive because I work out like a fucking maniac. I train twice a day, 6 days a week, and walk 10 to 12 miles on my rest day. Can you help me dial in the PED and growth hormone protocol to maximize results? You will see that my healthy labs back on May 12th look pretty good, except IGF-1 and GH are always non-existent. My recent labs show some serious concerns, probably the Winstrol, but we're discontinuing that in 2 weeks anyways. SHBG, lipids, estradiol are all fucked, but aside from my joints, I feel pretty good. I'm 5'7", lean, 43 years old. Would like your coaching for the next 12 months and happy to pay in advance. Let's go. And a bunch of redactions, a bunch of personal information, and then his signature, Brian Johnson.